Yo, dudes and dudettes, your friendly neighborhood Jaxblade here, and I have just seen the Hey Arnold Jungle movie, which just premiered on Nickelodeon literally 5-10 minutes ago, and I'm just full of emotions right now. I'm working on a new Would That Work Out video that's going to be coming next week on one of my favorite, characters, but this, I just had to do a video. Like, you remember my Samurai Jack reviews at the beginning of this year? Like, I have to do something along the lines of that for, this right now because it gave me a whole bunch of emotions to see Hey Arnold again because as a kid growing up in the 90s, and hell, you can be like an early 2000s kid or whatsoever, like Hey Arnold is just such a great show. It was such a phenomenal show, like with good storylines, good things. Like it still holds up today. Like, hold on one second, let me find it right here. I cannot tell you how many times I've marathoned this box set. This box set right here, this is one of the greatest purchases I ever got, and having it on Blu-ray is something I really want to do, but having it on DVD is just as good. But I'm just going to talk about Hey Arnold the Jungle movie. Don't worry, I'll tell you when I get to the spoiler section, but for right now, I just want to, say my thoughts, everything, and just, gush over this. Because the Jungle movie, what I thought was so great about this is it takes place literally, like, I want to say a few years after the series concluded. And as you know, in this one, it concluded around, I want to say, the original Journal episode, even though I think there were some episodes after that and they never got their season to continue. But it was just a continuation of that. So if you're going into this blind, make sure you at least watch the Journal episode from the original series, because that's going to give you the layout of what this movie is based on. And this thing has just been in development hell for so long, so it's so great to finally see this movie get its own thing, like after so many years. I mean, Hey Arnold ended, I want to say, like, I know it was early 2000s at least. Yeah, it was like early 2000s at least. So this is just wow. Okay, it was like one of those things, like we never thought we were going to get this back. Like we never thought Samurai Jack was coming back, and we got a good finale. And this one, I arguably gotta say, it gave me better feelings, even though I'm one of the rare few who loved the Samurai Jack ending. I mean, I didn't love it. I just was like, okay, well, for what it's worth, I enjoyed it. I wish it was an hour long. But for this, I was just like, okay, yeah, I like this. I like this a lot, even though there were some little gripes, but I'll bring them up in a second. What I did, first off, I just want to say this about the voices. The voices, they did a really good job, because remember in the original Hey Arnold series, they had a bunch of kids do the voices, and of course the kids grew up. Like, that was actually one of the episodes in the past. Like, Gerald had a voice actor go through puberty during the time, and his voice got deeper, and they just, like, started editing his voice because, he was maturing faster than other kids, but they loved him so much they kept him on. But with Arnold, they practically changed him every season, and it's fun because you can go and watch Hey Arnold and be like, oh, that's the first one. The first one actually got transformed into the villain Wolfgang, or the bully Wolfgang, the fifth grader, because they liked that actor so much. And then the second one became Torvald, and so like when they had all three of them talking together, it was really good. But I just want to say the voices on this were pretty damn good. Like Rhonda, of course, Rhonda, she also does Ty Lee in freaking Avatar: Last Airbender. She did a phenomenal job. Helga's voice actress, she got it on point. Phoebe, like all the people. Oh yeah, my bae Olga's in here. Like, I loved Olga as a kid. Like, that was one of my crushes as a kid. I loved Olga Pataki as a kid. I had one of the biggest crushes on her as a kid. So seeing Nika Futterman like do the voice, like she's been in so many things. Like, it would just take me an hour to like go through all the things that she's done that I love. But she did like a great job as, reprising the role. And then like, of course, like Bob did it, like, Big Bob's Beepers. And okay, yeah, I'm going to get to this in a second. All right. So, Bob's voice was great. Miriam's voice, like Kath Soucie did a great job. Arnold's grandpa was great. Like the grandma, of course, like all these great people. It just gives you this sense of nostalgia when you enjoy watching this thing. Like, it's something you watch for years as a kid, and then it comes back with all the original voices, and you're just like, oh my god, I love it. Well, not all the original voices, but like all the original voices of adults and the females, of course. But the new kids pulled a freaking Charlie Brown, where, remember the 2015 Charlie Brown movie? Yeah, the Peanuts movie that came out, and they had all the kids do the voices, and they sounded really similar to the original. I think they did that with this. The only ones that were misses to me were Monkey Man's voice, but he's not in here for that long because they couldn't get Andy Dick back to do the voice. And then, of course, Oscar's voice, because Oscar, sadly, the voice actor for him passed away. And so that was interesting. Yeah, it was just, I had a lot of fun with the voice actors and the story. I thought the story was pretty interesting to see them go with it. I will say this, though. it did get a tad bit more cartoony than usual. Okay, like I've rewatched this entire series so many times. I've rewatched this series like I can't count how many times I've rewatched the series. And while it is cartoony at points, like there are some things just like, okay, that's just, straight out of fiction. There are parts where they still stay grounded, where you're like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, in this movie, Eugene gets, he has an allergic reaction to something he eats and becomes like this big, like, ball thing, like a big, like a Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, where the girl turns into a big blueberry. He like swells up and gets this thing, and then he's just rolling around and stuff like that. So like that was a bit too cartoony to me. And also there's a certain thing where someone heads back to like get help or something, and it's the Jungle movie, so there's danger and peril and all that stuff. So it makes sense why they would do that, like why they get help or whatsoever. But like the way they get back is just like, okay, that's a bit pushing it in my opinion, but I had so much like fun watching it. And then there were certain things, the technology in the film, like, okay, so Hey Arnold, this was early 2000s, 90s, and so they always referencing the beepers. The beepers like is an old relic of past, and it's so true. Like no one uses beepers anymore. We all got iPhones and cell phones and stuff like that, and so they're always talking about like, yeah, we got Wi-Fi, we got cell phones, and so I was wondering for a bit if they were going to keep it in the same area, if it was like the same area of time, or I guess in Hey Arnold's dimension world, the way that the world's set up, they had this whole thing where they just massively evolved over 2 years and got everything we have, like Wi-Fi, TV, cell phone, well, not TV, but what I mean, like computers, all that jazz. And I thought it was good. Thought it was very good. Also, one thing that they brought up that I did love, they mentioned Mr. Simmons. Like Mr. Simmons, for many people don't know, is homosexual. Like that, Craig Bartlett mentioned that a while ago, and so seeing him actually, they didn't like full out make out or something like that, but like seeing it be progressive, that was a cool thing right there, and the whole storyline of what they got going on, and I forgot what's her name? Oh God, I cannot remember her name right now. What is her name? The black girl Rhonda's friends with, she has interracial parents, and I completely forgot about that, but she's like a black girl with blonde hair, and so I just thought that was an artist choice, but no, she's interracial, so I thought that was pretty cool. What was her name? It wasn't Sheena. It was... God, what was her name? I'm freaking out that I remember this, but I just got to gush over the movie because the story... there's parts where I don't want to spoil it. As a matter of fact, I'm getting close to... I can't fully gush about it without like getting into spoilers, so I'm about to get into spoilers in a few seconds. But just want to say, if you're a fan of Hey Arnold, you'll definitely be a fan of this. The art style is great, takes you back. It may not be as like, grainy as the original, but of course that's what happens when you modify it to like digital computers and all that. The characters are all there that you love. Well, the main ones at least, not like everyone, but the main people, Arnold's voice actor is great. He's trying to find out his parents' stuff, what happened. Like it's just I thought the whole thing was interesting right there. So I'm going to say this right now. I'm about to get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. But I'm just letting you know right now, I'm about to get into spoilers that I don't want to ruin anything for you guys or gals out there. But okay. Now, this movie is very dark. And not dark, but like graphic. I did not expect people to die violently. Okay, there's a scene where someone gets freaking impaled by bows and arrows, and I was just like, oh, I guess, well, it is TV PG. I guess that is something you would see. And then these people get crushed to death. People get poisoned. People have these whole things where they're fighting with machetes and, like, you see the thing. And for a second, I thought they were going to go the Wild Thornberrys route. You remember the Wild Thornberrys, Donnie story, where Donnie's parents, Donnie was a little wild boy with the Wild Thornberrys. His parents got murdered by poachers. So I thought they were going to go that route. Because when we finally get to Arnold's parents, I was just like, oh, God, don't do this to my soul. Do not do this to my soul right now. Okay, I cannot. Don't do this to me. And so because God, you remember the sleeping sickness from the originals? That's what they're trying to cure in this thing. But this pirate guy who's pretending to be Eduardo, and I'll give you this: they telegraph who the villain is right away. They telegraph who the villain is. Like, I don't know what it is. Just it was something, it was just so obvious that this person was the villain from the get-go, and so I just thought that was interesting choice what they did. But it was just one of those things where you go, that's the villain instantly. And the pirate guy, and when they get into this huge fight later on, you're just like, okay, well, I'm wondering how he's gonna go out. And this guy is just, I mean, he's a decent villain. I mean, he's interesting. I like how he's like, there is a part where he's talking to Curly, because remember Curly, all the group class is gone with him, and Curly is like saying, hey, do you want me to be a snitch? You want me to be like a Randall group? You want me like to help you out? And he's like, oh no, kid, you are way too crazy for me. And it's just a funny thing right there where he's just like, okay, we're, you know, monster, we're like pirates, we're bad guys, we want to find this green-eyed people and get the treasure so we can sell it and be poachers and all that stuff. But he was a pretty decent villain. And then the whole thing with Phoebe and Gerald getting together, because my bro Carlos watching this, me and him were texting about this earlier. I mean, my bro Mike and all the other people were like, that was our OTP back in grade school. We always talked about like, yeah, those two need to get together. So I'm happy they did. They didn't do a full out makeout scene, but that was just a great thing right there. I really love that. And Arnold's whole thing of trying to find his parents and going through this little area and finally obtaining like the meeting the green-eyed people. And the green-eyed people, I just made this joke, like the green-eyed people are clearly, you know, Hey Arnold like fans, 90s kids or something like that, or just like kids who grew up with Hey Arnold, because the way they're cheering on Arnold and have better like monuments that Helga has. And it's just it's so fun to like watch these people that you've heard about for years like finally see them, and then, you know, see what they're trying to accomplish because they don't speak English. And it was good. And then the whole thing at the ending with his parents like because they've been hit with the sleeping sickness. His parents had been hit with the sleeping sickness, and so I thought they were dead. I thought the parents were dead. I was just like, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, because I can't handle this right now. I couldn't handle it. But nope, they were alive. They just had to have this sleeping sickness put in, and the whole thing with Helga and Arnold finally connecting. And I was wondering, so I guess they completely just forgot about the BS movie. By the way, this completely kicks the crap out of the old Hey Arnold movie, the one that went in theaters. Like, to me, this kicks the crap out of that easily. I will watch this over and over. That one I've only watched twice in my life, and I'm just not pleased. But yeah, seeing Helga confess her feelings and Arnold finally just, you know, reciprocating them, and that moment, I was screaming, I was yelling, I was like, those boys, I was like, my dog, my man. I was smiling like a little brat. I was just, oh god, I was so happy. And I think this movie is gonna just make a lot of kids who grew up in the 90s happy, and a lot of just kids in general who love Hey Arnold happy. And oh my god, like the music was great. It was took you back to the time with it's like sort of a new updated style, but it took you back to the time. And just, wow, I love this movie. I honestly really enjoyed it. There are times where I looked at it, I'm just like, okay, I have a little issue with this or that, and this character could have been better used, but for the most part, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. This had a great send-off to Hey Arnold. Like, it's one of those things where I'm legitimately upset that this does not get a sequel. If it does get a sequel, I'll just like use all those kids whatsoever, make a better version of the show, or whatever, just a series of this. That would be so great. Just one season, one Samurai Jack season. But if this is finale, I'm happy. I'm genuinely happy. You did a phenomenal job, Craig Bartlett. And just definitely everyone, go check it out when you get the chance. Go watch Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie. I had a fantastic time with it. Oh, God. It was so good. In my opinion. So good in my opinion. Like, I would probably, if you were familiar with Spiller Double Toasted, I would definitely give it a full price, because it made me just smile and happy, and I felt really good with it. And so definitely go check it out. Alright, but I'm going to get back to work on this Would That Work Out video coming sometime next week, and I hope you enjoy it. Go check out Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie, and remember, like I always say, keep calm, booyah on, don't forget, moment high. You did a phenomenal job, Craig Bartlett. Thank you for giving us such a great conclusion.